Welcome to Bite Size Tech. Today, we're diving into a massive battle that's being fought for your attention, right on the very screen you're looking at now. I mean, think about it for a second. Where are your eyes pointed at any given moment? Is it that little glowing rectangle in your hand? The big one on the wall? The one sitting on your desk? Well, right now, a huge high-stakes war is being waged for that exact screen. It's a war for your attention, and trust me, it is fundamentally reshaping media, entertainment, and our entire culture. So here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll kick things off with the Great Media Shakeup. Then we'll look at legacy media's high-wire act. From there, we'll dive into the interactive entertainment era and the rise of creator CEOs. And we'll wrap it all up with what it means for you. Your screen, your rules. All right, let's get into it. First up, the Great Media Shakeup. You know, the old rulebook for how we all consume content, it's been completely torn off and thrown out. We're in a time of massive disruption where the power is shifting right before our very eyes. To really wrap our heads around this, let's start with two names you definitely know, a late-night TV host and a public radio institution. And as you'll see, both are finding themselves in some pretty tricky situations. This really lays out the tightrope these old-school media giants are walking. On one hand, you have a commercial powerhouse like Jimmy Kimmel Show trying to deal with network politics and figure out how to actually make money from online views. On the other hand, a public institution like NPR is fighting for its funding and for public trust. They have different problems, sure, but they're both facing the same uncertain future. Kimmel himself got into some hot water when, as he puts it, his comments got twisted online, which actually led to Disney pulling his show off the air for a bit. It's a perfect example of how online outrage can become a weapon, putting enormous pressure on networks and advertisers. And really, it all comes down to the money. A late-night show like Kimmel's can cost a staggering $120 million to produce. But as more and more of us just watch clips on YouTube instead of the full show on TV, that old advertising model that paid for everything, well, it's starting to crumble. Okay, now let's pivot over to NPR. It's a total cornerstone of American media, right? But it's also in a huge battle for its future, and it all revolves around public trust and, most critically, its funding. Now, this is where it gets super interesting, because there's this common myth about NPR's funding. The main national organization only gets about 1% of its money directly from the federal government. So you might be thinking, what's the big deal? Well, the real vulnerability isn't where you think. It's in the network of local stations. These are the lifeblood of the whole system, and they're the ones that rely heavily on federal money, sometimes up to 70% of their budget, especially in rural America. So any threats to that funding, it doesn't just hurt the headquarters in D.C. It risks creating what people call local news deserts all across the country, in places where public media is often the only reliable source of information. So while legacy media is trying to figure all this out, a completely different kind of entertainment isn't just surviving, it's absolutely exploding. And this new world isn't built on us just passively watching. It's all about us actively participating. This quote from the CEO of Twitch, Dan Clancy, just hits the nail on the head. The new currency in media isn't just eyeballs anymore. It's about belonging. The platforms that are winning are the ones creating spaces where people feel like they're part of a real community. And Twitch's own story is the perfect example. It actually started as this thing called Justin.tv, which was all about life casting, literally streaming your life 24/7. Then it made a huge pivot into video game streaming and just blew up. But now it's kind of come full circle. It's expanded way beyond gaming into all kinds of in-real-life content, becoming this massive hub for authentic, real-time connection. And the scale here is just massive. Okay, so it's not a behemoth like YouTube, but with 105 million monthly visitors, Twitch is a true powerhouse. It's bigger than many traditional media outlets and has created this totally unique space as a sort of long-form social media giant. You know, even Netflix, the undisputed king of passive viewing, sees the writing on the wall. They are pushing aggressively into gaming, not just on your phone, but on your TV. And their strategy is actually brilliant. Turn the phone you're already holding into a controller, instantly transforming a quiet movie night into an active social game night. But what's making all of this possible? This constant cycle of creating and consuming, streaming your life, playing games on your TV with your phone, it all hinges on the unbelievably powerful tech we're all carrying around in our pockets. And that tech just keeps getting more powerful. Devices like Google's latest Pixel lineup are the engines of this new media era. They're the tools that make it totally seamless to both produce and consume all this interactive content, whenever, wherever. And this constant connectivity, this direct line to an audience, it's led to maybe the most dramatic power shift of all, the rise of the individual as a full-on media empire. I mean, just take the streamer Pokimane. With a combined audience of almost 30 million followers, she's not just a personality, she is a media brand. These are what people are calling creator CEOs, individuals who have built businesses that can rival traditional media outlets in both their reach and their influence. And this breakdown shows just how sophisticated these businesses have become. For a top creator like Pokimane, the money she gets from viewers subscribing on Twitch, that's only her third largest source of income. The real empire is built on major sponsorships, exclusive platform contracts, and her own business ventures, like co-founding a talent management company. So, we've seen legacy media under pressure, interactive platforms on the rise, and creators becoming their own CEOs. What does this all mean for you? Because this isn't just some story about media companies and streamers. This massive shift has changed the rules of the game for every single one of us. So let's recap the new rules. 1. Community is now way more valuable than just raw viewership. 2. Creators are the new brands, building and controlling their own empires. 3. Interactivity is the new frontier. Passive watching is out. And 4. The ultimate battle is for your time, as every service out there tries to become your one-stop shop for entertainment. And all of this leaves us with one final, pretty critical question. In this new world where your attention is the ultimate prize and every platform is engineered to capture your time and your loyalty, are you still just the audience, or have you become the product? Something to think about. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.